it wasn't just me. Okay, I thought I was imagining. Okay, so it's my internet's all right. Can you hear me all right? Very
Yes.
good. I'm sorry that fill didn't come out as well, but let me now quickly share screen, and I will. So, sorry. So as I touched upon, I'm not sure how much you got. Our USP at Soneva is that we're both the owner and operator of our hotels, which today is quite rare. Quite often, many hotels in the world, including a lot of our competitive set, are either managed or owned by different people. So we own and operate our hotels. It allows us to have a very, very, very clear, strong philosophy, and over time, a very strong brand. And that philosophy is our core purpose of creating imaginative and engaging slow life, essentially offering our guests luxuries whilst minimizing our impact on the planet, and at the same time enhancing the health of our guests. And we do that by questioning and challenging what luxury is about, because it's a misused word. And essentially, luxury is that which is rare. It's a philosophy. It's that which is rare. It's that what you don't get every day. It's something that's new to you, but still strikes a chord in your heart when you touch it. And we need to also consider that the context of our guests has changed. 30, 40 years ago, our guests were the landed gentry, living up in the countryside, having inherited their wealth with fresh air, fresh food, space, and privacy. Today, most of our clients are self-made, they're urban, they're living in cities, and a lot of what we took for granted, successful people took for granted in the past, is now rare. Fresh air, fresh food is almost impossible in an urban context. Space and privacy are at a huge premium. So essentially, luxury is that which is rare, and then our brand proposition of inspiring a lifetime of rare experiences. And I just wanted to share, before I go on and highlight what's new, I wanted to share this because in the film, I talked about this idea of being able to walk barefoot for a week being a huge luxury. And I know I've mentioned on many occasions, and some of you might think, well, it's just empty words, and so it's nothing so special. But as I said, luxury is about that which is new for people, they don't get every day, but which touches them. It touches their emotions, it touches a chord in their heart. And this is a guest who wrote to me recently, and she said, taking our shoes up from us as we stepped off the jetty was like lifting our old tired skin away and offering an alternative, non-judgmental, anxiety-free way of being. And it just grew each day. That was unique. I've never felt that anywhere before, like I could be someone entirely different whilst I was there. And so these little details, these tiny, tiny little details that we do, if you don't think much about, there's no news, no shoes bag, the fact that the barefoot butler takes your shoes and you walk on the jetty of our resorts barefoot, little details have a huge emotional impact on a lot of our guests, and of course, by virtue of that, your clients. So we have the 4 properties. There are 3 properties in the Maldives, including Soneva Nakwa, and then Soneva Kiris on the island of Koh Kut. So Koh Kut is the, I know it's, we haven't really focused much on Thailand because the borders have been closed. Good news is that Thailand's starting to open its borders. There's about 20% vaccination rate. And as soon as we start to get to 60, 70%, I think Thailand will start to become more open. It's the 4th biggest island in Thailand. So you have Phuket, Koh Chang, Koh Samui, and then Koh Kut. So in 2019, Phuket would have received 8 million tourists. From Koh Samui, they would have had about 3 million tourists, foreign tourists, just flying in. And Koh Kut, the population is about 2,000 to 3,000, a couple of thousand. And I would say that 10 to 20% of all arrivals are our clients, because we don't fly with our private plane. It's very accessible. Koh Kut's a perfect example of remote but accessible. And it's really like Phuket would have been, or Samui 100 years ago. We have empty beaches. In fact, we have a program called 7 days, 7 beaches. So each day we'll take you to a different beach. We have this beautiful Doni, sorry, no, it's not Doni, that's Maldives fishing boat, this beautiful Thai fishing boat, which we converted. So it's a little restaurant, it's movable. We set up on the beach. You've also got snacks going on on the boat itself, and we go to different beaches, and they're empty. Most beaches in Koh Samui or Phuket, you'd have at least 2 or 3 hotels. So it's a rare gem in Thailand, highly recommended. It's just before the Cambodian border. Very good for trips to Angkor Wat. We used to be doing flights between Siem Reap and Koh Mai Si, our personal airport, with our own plane, and we'd like to resume that as soon as things get back to normal. And then, of course, you have the Maldives. So what is new at Soneva? As I announced last year when we reopened, we're testing. The thing about all three of our resorts is they're remote but accessible, as I touched upon, this idea of one island, one resort. And so we're testing extensively. Our hosts, we don't have employees, our hosts, they're tested on arrival. They're asked to isolate for a week and then tested again. And then they can circulate with a mask. And then after the second week, a further test, and then no more mask. With our guests, they arrive on the island. We have our own laboratory, so we've added more equipment. We're now doing we've done about 20,000 tests for the government so far in these atolls. So we have the Nunu Bar, where Soneva Jani and Soneva Fushia, and then we have Ra and Laviani, and we're also covering most of the resorts there. So we can do up to about 2,000 tests a day. We have 2 machines, extracting machine. And because of all of that, we can get a result within 6 hours. If a client's really in a hurry and they land in Mafaru, we can almost get the test within an hour or so, because we have the Abbott ID Now machine. In addition to the 2, we have a third machine, which does a test in about 15 minutes, but it only does 4 tests at a time. So our guests for those 6 hours isolate in the privacy of their villa, their private pool, their private beach. And then as soon as we get the results, they can circulate, and it's no news, no shoes, and no masks. As you see from this young boy here, this is the only mask he wore for 2 weeks. So it's very free, it's liberating, and importantly, because everyone's been tested and we've created these COVID-free environments, guests are very happy to go and interact with other people. So you have lots of guests bonding, having dinners and lunches together, laughing, hugging, shaking hands, things that they haven't been able to do for a couple of years. So Soneva Stars program, it's something we created a couple of years ago. The idea is to create rich content. So a thing that both Ava and I are very passionate about with our resorts, in particular in the Maldives, are 2 things. One is having a lot to do. So you can spend more than 2 weeks at our resort, fill up your calendar of activities, and you won't do everything that we have. You can spend a fortnight at Soneva Fushi, as an example, and not dine in the same venue. And the other big thing, of course, is the quality of the food. So lots to do and food. And the reason for this is back in 91, we had this idea to build the first luxury resort in the Maldives. And our bankers wanted a market survey. So Ava offered to do it. And she was on the phone for literally a week calling about 50 agents. There weren't many agents in those days. You only had, I think we had about 150,000 arrivals in the country compared with the 1.5 million that we have nowadays. And I think there would have been about 20, 25 resorts, not many operators, but it still took her a week. She spoke with about 50. And she had a sore, it's funny, her elbow got sore from, just leaning on there with this heavy receiver, speaking with these people. You didn't have speakerphone. Well, at least she didn't. And so it was quite funny. She had this terrible sore. She kept on showing it to me all the time. So every time we went shopping and there was the jewelry shop, she would show me the sore. Every time we went, there was a nice dress in a window. She'd show this to me. And these were the 2 things that came out. Nothing to do in the Maldives and bad food. So we created this program. We have chefs, astronomers, explorers, athletes, wine critics, poker players, astronauts, authors, coaches, tutors, and celebrities, and rich content all the time. In terms of chefs, we have Once Upon a Table at Out of the Blue, which we launched 2 years ago. Most of you would know about it. And it has 4 concepts there. And one of them is this restaurant called Once Upon a Table with a state-of-the-art kitchen. And this is where each week we have a 2 or 3 Michelin star chef or someone who's worked in the who's in the top 50 in the world in terms of the world's best restaurant list. So we have Esben Holmo Bang, 3-star Michelin restaurant in Maimo in Norway, which is, I think, Norway's top restaurant. Tim Rauer, Germany's top restaurant. And there's a lovely chef's table in Netflix on him. Klaus Meyer was the partner of René Redzepi at Noma, which was voted best restaurant in the world. Klaus is a regular feature. And then we even have Azma Khan. So I don't think she has a Michelin star or 2, but there's a lovely Netflix program on her. So some really interesting characters lined up. Please have a look on, our brand center, all of this. There's access to this. If you're stuck, just ask your country director of sales and they'll show this to you. And then in addition to the chefs, we have the experts, fitness, wellness, tennis player Jonas Bjorkman, we have glass artists and sculptors, and then Stanley Tucci, and then Mikel Silvestre, the football player, and others. So Mikel played for Arsenal and Man United. He, I think, played about 9 years with Man United. He also played for the French national team, and I think they won the World Cup at that time. And he organizes these football camps. He was with us in the summer, back again in October, and then for Christmas. Kids absolutely love the whole experience. So Jonas Bjorkman won 9 Grand Slam tennis championships in doubles. I think all four of the Grand Slams he won at one point in his career. And he was here with us in August, coming back in October, Christmas and Easter, playing with guests. And we also have some other stars. So Ronaldinho nearly came. He was at the airport, and unfortunately, the weather was terrible. There was an amazing storm, and he had to fly back to Dubai, which was really disappointing. We have someone who was on the German World Cup team when they won in Brazil. And I hope there aren't any Latin Americans on this Zoom call. And so he's coming. He's part of the German team. He's just retired, and a famous name. We'll announce it as soon as it happens. We'll announce, and then some great tennis players as well. So 2022 is a year of festivals. They have this idea of this rich content. We're taking it to another level. This will, of course, be very relevant for the short-haul markets, more relevant to the short-haul markets, India, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, where the flying time is only about 4 hours. And we're going to start with the Jaipur Literature Festival. Jaipur Literature Festival, which takes place in January, is most probably the largest or the second largest literature festival in the world. They have about 500,000 people between online and physically there. We have 20 signed up already, authors, and there'll be another 10. The other 10 are sort of signature people, which we'll let you know, but they're sort of further celebrity authors. They'll be coming, and please just keep an eye on the schedule and who's coming to create the content. William Dalrymple is the co-chair. Peter Frankopan, the Oxford best-selling historian who wrote The New Silk Roads, highly recommended. Andre Asserman, Shobha Dey is one of the India's leading thought leaders, Vikas Swarup, and a few others. So we have about 20 signed up, and it's going to be very much about stimulating panels, workshops, music, poetry readings, film screenings, and more. And we have these streams going on. So the weekends, the 2 weekends, and then the week in between. During the weekends, it's quite rich in content, where you have in the morning, you start at 7:30, and there's 6 different things going on in parallel. So you'll have a marine biologist taking you to Hanifaru Bay to see mantas. You'll have a glass blower showing you how to blow glass. Yoga master doing yoga, meditation, cross-functional fitness, learning how to make plastic, etc. So lots going on. Then you have a leisurely breakfast. At 10:30, we have a plenary where everyone attends. And then again at about 11:40, 11:15, there are breakouts, so about 5 breakout sessions in parallel. That happens twice. Then there's a lunch with about 20 tables, each round tables hosted by one of the content providers. So lots of time to engage with the authors and the content providers. Then the afternoon's off, it's quite slack. And then at 6 o'clock starts again with 6 Dhonies going out, watching the sunset, seeing the dolphins, and hosted by a leading author. And then there are hosted dinners, including Once Upon a Table, where each night there'll be a top chef explaining his philosophy and his concept. So it's going to be very, very rich on content. Highly recommend it for your clients who love literature, but not just literature, who just love a lot of activity on a holiday. And then we've got special offers over that period, including access to the festival, all the food and beverage, transfers, etc., the gala dinners, etc. And so we have JLF in May. Then we're planning a wellness festival, music, and food and wine. We're fine-tuning the details. As soon as we have more details, we'll announce it. So 2022 will be even richer in content than we have at the moment. A lot of focus, as you know, on kids. People say that Soneva Fushi is arguably the most children-friendly resort, luxury resort in the world, not just the Maldives. And so we're very family focused. So in addition to operating in education, we've created science now with Bart Knowles, our entomologist, who's allowed us to reduce our mosquito population by about 98% from what it was. He's also running as a professor in science. He's running our astronomers and our marine biologists, and he's created some fantastic content, which is called the Soneva Academy. That's all available as well. Our CDOS, our country directors of sales, will be able to share information. So there's rich content for people, children of guests, and even the guests, adults themselves, if they'd like to learn about astronomy, marine biology, entomology, the mosquitoes, waste management. We have about five courses, each are about 3 hours. Some of them will be online as well, just small 1-hour seminars online, so there's continuity. And then he's doing an amazing thing called the Voyage of the Corbin, where just south of us, about 40 minutes by speedboat, there's a little atoll called Goidu. It has no tourist resorts. It's got 3 big local islands at one end of the atoll. You know, an atoll is like the Bar Atoll, where we have 15, 20 tourist resorts. Here, there are none. So you've got 3 local islands with the population, and then about 15 kilometers away, there's some sandbanks, and then this beautiful desert island. And there was a shipwreck there on the edge of the atoll, which is quite famous. Francois Pirard, the author, wrote about his adventures. The captain. It was called the Voyage of the Corbin. And so the children imagine that they're the survivors of this shipwreck. So they arrive on this single island. It's a picture postcard island. There are about 15 of them. They're brief. They've spent a day preparing at Soneva Fushi before, but they don't come with any lodging equipment. So they have to make their own shelter. The last time they did it, rained like hell, and they were all dry. They have to learn how to desalinate water. They have to create a fire out of what they find there. And then there are certain provisions that they bring, which would have normally been on the ship. So it's a great adventure, the adventure of the Corbin. And then we have Oppidan education. So sometimes you might have clients who have more than one child, and one child is studying for an important exam and the other child has no such obligation. And rather than everyone sacrifice, let us know. Oppidan education have 300 tutors. So we'll fly out a tutor for the clients. Obviously, there'll be a charge, and the family can still holiday. The person who has to SWAT for the exam can do that, but at least enjoy the dinners and the evenings with the family and not feel left out or have to stay back with grandma or whatever. So that's an opportunity. And then the founders of Oppidan Education are with us during the key holidays as well, creating interesting additional content for the den. So, and I'll talk a bit about the den later, and it's not just about kids' activities. It's really about rich content, rich learning. We have introducing to our team members. They'll be joining a bit later. So at the end, I will quickly introduce you to everyone. We have our general managers. So Frederick Brez, you'll most probably remember from last year's webinars, general manager at Soneva Johnny. You might have seen him if you'd visited. Jamie Waring was our chief operating officer at Six Senses before the split. And prior to that, our MD Wellness. He's now our general manager, Soneva Kiri, and supporting us with our wellness strategy. And I'll touch a bit later about what we're doing on wellness. There's quite a lot of development there. Eddie Tay, our general manager at Soneva Fushi. Then we have in reservations, I know you've had lots of problems with reservations, and after a few years with our Indian outsourced provider, we decided to move everything in-house. We realized that there were many complaints, and so we've slightly decentralized reservations because each resort has 3 reservations hosts. And then centrally, we have Nassim here with Abuli and a bigger reservations team at Soneva Fushi. So I do hope things are improving. They're adding a couple more people, a few little bits of software still to come, but I hope you're seeing immediate improvements. Product knowledge is obviously fantastic because they're living at the property, and I hope that the response times are now very good. And I'll introduce you to all of them later, and they'll put their mobile numbers in the Zoom chat. Virtual reality films. We commissioned 6 virtual reality films. If you've never seen a virtual reality film with a good Oculus type goggle, you have to. It's unbelievable. It's really real. You're dizzy by the experience. And so we've got 6 films. Our country directors of sales actually have goggles with the films downloaded. So next time you see them, please ask them. They'll show you. And we've also got them available on YouTube and on our brand center. So if you have your own goggles and you want to show them to clients, I highly recommend it, especially with Soneva Aqua, because Soneva Aqua, it's an ugly boat from the outside. I designed it, and I'll admit it's ugly from the outside, but it's such an amazing experience once you're in the boat. We sacrifice beauty for volume. So it's a bit like a Chinese junk. It's as wide as a 35-meter Bonetti. Its floor to ceiling is like a 60-meter fed ship. The finish is, of course, fantastic, or amazing leather and maple and oak woods and beautiful polished steels and finishes. A lot of space, a lot of privacy, a crew of 6. So like what you'd get on a cruise ship or a luxury yacht, but just for 2 couples. So it's a 2-bedroom boat, priced as a 2-bedroom villa, but really offering you an experience that you'd either get on a cruise ship where you're sharing with many, many other people, and where a nice suite on the cruise ship most probably cost you what this whole boat is costing you, and where you're totally private and you go wherever you want, or a mega yacht, but then a mega yacht is 4 times more. We have the spa therapist who doubles up as the housekeeper. You have the Mr. Friday who understands wine and astronomy and water sports, of course, and then there's a fantastic chef who's trained by our team, and a lot of the menus are already prepared, and some are done sous vide by our team. We have the dive master, and then there's Captain Grant creating a lot of experiences. And it's rich in experiences, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But please use these goggles if you've got clients, these films, if you've got clients who are interested in Soneva and Aqua. I think it'd be a great upselling opportunity. We're offering workation. So we have lots of families, like over the Christmas period, we had some families who stayed until Easter, 4 months. They were working there. We're now really geared towards that. We have office space for guests if they don't want to stay in the villa, and we've upped the internet speed. So we've increased it. It's now 150 megabytes per second. I think it's the fastest in the Maldives. So while Soneva is about no news, no shoes, only the bars have Wi-Fi, the spa doesn't. Obviously the villas do, but you can turn it off. But when you turn it on, it's super, super, super fast. And I think that's very important for your clients who want to stay longer, and we're getting more and more of that. Art and glass, we set up Glassical a couple of years ago, and we have, again, visiting artists coming. This is Trina Drivsum coming. We have our 4 glass artists who do glass lessons for our guests, make beautiful pieces of art, but then Trina's coming as a visiting artist. We have a few more signed up. I think India's top artist is about to confirm shortly. And this is what these visiting artists make. Our glass artists make these with guests, so guests can make these and then take them home and have souvenirs of Soneva. And we're now doing the same with plastic and aluminium. So this is aluminium, where we've taken some aluminium pieces and created these beautiful aluminium bottles as works of art. We're also making hooks out of them, the type of hooks we see in Soneva Jani, drawer knobs, hooks to hang your bathrobe or whatever, keychains here. And then plastic, we're doing the same with plastic. And it's my goal, plastic is still in its, sorry, just put the lights on. Plastic is still in its infancy, but it is my goal that eventually we will be able to create works of beauty with plastic, like we're doing now with Glassical after 5 years, which command huge values, and where we will be able to pay fishermen more to fish plastic than to catch fish, because that's very important. If current trends continue, by 2030, there are going to be many more pieces of plastic in the sea than fish. And so we all need to do our little bit to reverse that trend. EcoCentro rebranded, of course, to Red Generation makes more sense. We've got Glassical, Maker's Place with aluminium, plastic, and then our EcoCentro, which is these waste to wealth centers. So we're now recycling more than 90% of our waste. New website at Soneva. So a lot of new collateral, brochures, wedding brochure, family experiences brochure. These are available online at our brand center, and then hard copies from your CDOS, your country directors of sales. Please do ask them. Last year, I introduced the Soneva Fushi water retreats. Last October, we opened them. I just want to quickly remind everyone about them. There are 8 of them. We have the largest 1- and 2-bedroom water retreats in the world at 500 and 800 square meters. There's a 40-meter gap between them. I'll just quickly flick through these images. Some of you would have seen them. Very much. There are about 20 innovations since our last development. So this was our 4th water development. We started with Gili, Soneva Gili, which is now Gili Lankan Fushi, then the Six Senses Lamu, then Soneva Jani. Now we have Soneva Fushi here, and there are 20 little differences. So for example, you'll see some of them much quieter. The jetty you'll see here, it goes this way, so you don't have the noise of the budum, 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 which people always complain about in water villas. It's a little bit raised, so there's no noise of the waves hitting the underneath of the pool. There's better insulation for both cool as well as sound. Lots of other little details, larger spaces, closed in, ideal for families. And then you can go up here, you go down the slide, and all these little Soneva touches, which you don't always get in other resorts. Press a button, the roof slides back, and then you can have a shower and see the mantas below. And here are some more images, just very quickly flick through. So last year we got rid of our Crusoe villas last year. So the old original villas, we had 12 that we opened with in 95. So Soneva Fushi might be the most, the oldest resort in the Maldives, but it's definitely not the most dated. So in the last 5 years, almost every villa apart from 10 have been changed. There are about 10 villas that we built about 15 years ago that haven't been upgraded. And so these 12 Crusoes now comprise 2-bedroom units plus 1-bedroom units here. We've now, at the end of last year, we handed over this one, which is Villa 43. It's a new 6-bedroom reserve. You have to bear in mind that we have lots of family villas, especially over the children's holiday. There's a strong children's focus. I touched upon that earlier, because we've been selling residents. We're the only operator and developer to have successfully sold residences. We've sold, I think about 30, over 30 so far in the last 10 years, everything from 2 bedrooms right up to a 9-bedroom unit. So ideal for big families. It's not like we just have a few presidential. When you have big families coming, please think of us first, because there's so much choice, so many options, and so many ways to skin the cat and fit the family into something appropriate. And this is a very nice one. It's 60 meters wide, very, very nice. Villa 43 at Soneva Fushi. Our zipline dining concept, which will be named Flying Saucers, opens in a couple of weeks' time. And you zip line across here, you come to this platform, and then you're up here, you climb up the stairs, and you have this beautiful view up here, looking out to the sea. And as you can see, you come up the platform. This is a state-of-the-art kitchen, and we're going to have a great chef here. This is Chef Russell. So Russell, when we have these visitors, he's been exposed to about 100 Michelin star chefs, because every time we have a visitor at Once Upon a Table, like the names you've just seen, Russell's the guy who takes care of them. So he's been exposed to them. He helps them with all their preparation. He knows their secrets of their recipes. And so we've given him this outlet to run. It's just a small dining table with about maximum of 16 guests. And this is ziplining. This was taken about a month ago, when it was still under construction, but it needs So some of the menus of Russell and the images. So great foods, quite sophisticated. And then on to the fish shack at Barabara. So we're conscious that people have started to say that our developments and our new things are becoming too sophisticated for the Maldives. We're losing that back to nature, Robinson Crusoe element. So we definitely wanted to right that this year. So we've got obviously the sophistication with Out of the Blue, which we built 2 years ago with Once Upon a Table and these top chefs that I described. You've got arguably the best sushi outside Japan with Akira, who's been making sushi for 25 years, and this small sushi counter with just 6 seats. The teppanyaki Hiroshi, one of Japan's top teppanyaki chefs. We then have Mads Refland, who was head chef at Noma, coming into Fresh in the Garden in October. And then, of course, there's Russell at Flying Saucers. So these are all quite sophisticated dining experiences. But then we've also got some more natural experiences, which I'm going to touch upon now. So first one is the fish shack. And it's going to be a simple fish shack. Joaquin, who was at Fresh in the Garden, is coming here. He's from Catalonia, and he'll be serving Spanish tapas, focus on fish, Mediterranean fish, whether it's the prawns a la plancha, the calamari fritti, you know, the white bait, those type of things. Lovely plant-based things like pimentos and other lovely tapas type ideas. Simple shack roof here. Kept it very, very simple. As you can see, the roof is made out of natural materials. I'll show you an image of the roof later on. And so that's that. We then have Shades of Green, which is our plant-based restaurant right in the middle of the garden. And again, it's quite simple cooking there in the garden. And then you have Down to Earth, which is what it says. on the label. And our chef there will continue with this idea of down to earth from all over the world. But in addition to that, we have two additions. One is this lovely little pasta kitchen with 5 boilers, an Italian pasta chef, and then you have a daybed table, daybed going all the way around. And the secret about pasta is the time it takes from boiler to plate. Nothing can be quicker than this. It's literally a couple of seconds, 10, 20, 30 seconds maximum. And of course, because it's out here, if anyone's ordering here, it comes straight to their plate. And then Darshan Munidasa has created a new grill. So Darshan's quite famous for being number 29 on the Asia's Best Restaurant list with his Ministry of Crab. He's now devised this grill that keeps the succulence of the meat and the fish and the vegetables. And he'll be running Carne Diem, which will be a small outlet in Down to Earth with one of his chefs and 2 waiters. So a lot of rich additions to Down to Earth. At the cinema, we're going to have Soneva Fushi. We're going to have 2 concepts. One is modern Australian comfort food here. And it's very nice. You can sit here on these stools here and the chef's cooking and watch the movie, or we'll serve you on, we normally have the sun lounges here, or then you can go up into the bar area here and sit here on a daybed and still look out, have a few drinks. If you had a few too many, you go up the stairs here and here's the toilet here, and you don't have to miss the film because there are louvers where you can still see and you've got the privacy, but you can keep on with the movie. And then you go here, there's So Primitive above here. So this leads down to the beach, these beautiful sweeping stairs. And as you can see up here, you go up here, there's So Primitive here, which is a simple grill, lovely daybed seating. This looks out straight towards the sunset. It's the Turtle Beach. It's the very end of Soneva Fushi with amazing views. And this is the type of style, a la Francis Malman, very simple cooking. So really some very much the natural approach. The cinema hut here, Cinema Paradiso here, is very much a simple hut as well. So really combining both the sophistication of some of our dining with a lot of simplicity as well. Soneva Seoul, we launched Soneva Seoul at both Soneva Jani and Soneva Fushi. We've terminated the spa agreement with Six Senses. When I sold it, we agreed that they would manage the spa for a few years, and that time's now up. And so we're taking it over. And Soneva Seoul is the result of 25 years of wellness, having started with the Six Senses Spa at Soneva Fushi back in '95 when we opened that, and further spas around the world. And then my recent fight with cancer in 2018, I was diagnosed stage 4, and within 6 weeks, I had a sort of bill of clean health, had gone to almost 0. I still carried on the cycles, but substantial reduction. And that was through a combination of the best that modern medicine has to offer, chemo, but looking at natural ways to, mitigate the bad side effects of chemo, and then some complementary treatments like hyperbaric oxygen, hypothermia, IV, ozone, etc. And then in between the chemo sessions, I'd go to the Maldives. So 10 days in Istanbul where I was, I'd do the chemo one day, 9 more days at the clinic doing all the complementary treatments, high doses of vitamin C and antioxidants and the hyperbaric oxygen and hypothermia, etc., where you're in a hot box, etc. And then I'd come to the Maldives for a 10-day Ayurvedic cleanse by this fantastic doctor who's healed lots of people. And so that really helped me considerably. And so Soneva Seoul is very much about combining the best of modern medicine and all these amazing discoveries we've made in the last 10 years, especially around diagnostic and enforcing healing through extreme heat and cold, such as cryotherapy, hypothermia, etc. And then the best of ancient wisdom, hundreds of years or thousands of years of ancient wisdom in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, and then very much focusing on the mind as well, which is, especially in the case of cancer, is 60% of the battle is solving the mind. And so Soneva Fushi Spa is now closed, completely upgrading it. We're using a guest villa at the moment for spa treatments, and we're adding a new reception here, shop. There's a treatment room there. There are 6 treatment rooms here that we're upgrading. And then you go upstairs, there's some more there. So we're adding 5 extra treatment rooms in all here. And this is, so you enter here, reception here, shop, consultation room, and then 3 more consultation treatment rooms here. And then this is where the old reception was. We've taken it out. So there's a bigger pond. And it's very nice. You go into the sound pond. So before we ask our guests to arrive a little early. You chill out with music and color, and then you walk along these stepping stones. The water's pouring down the walls here on both sides, and you walk along these stepping stones. And they have the Kneipp theory, which is heat and cold. One step is extremely cold, the other step is very hot. And then you have these smelling niches, and you take a big inhalation. It's very relaxing, and you go into the treatment room, and then you go out. You can do the same. And then there's the juice bar here. You can order a juice and go up into the relaxation room, or sit in the sound pod. So it's going to be a very nice feeling, very cozy, very intimate, but very focused on healing. Really looking at outcomes rather than lots of treatments, and focusing very much on a little box with different outcomes. So sleep and skin, restore, energize, mindfulness, balance, pampering, of course, if you just want that, experiences, unique experiences, including things like biomodulation, the cryotherapy I touched upon earlier, hyperbaric oxygen, the IV therapy, and then things like ozone therapy here. So, and then fantastic wellness practitioners. We always have an osteopath on site. Craniosacral therapy would be normal. Nutritional advice will be a standard. So some basics that you might not normally get in a resort spa, and then some of these alternative healing, and then extreme diagnostic as well. So a lot of opportunities for diagnostics to really understand what's happening. So last year we introduced Soneva Unlimited with Chapter 2, where if you book Chapter 2 in Soneva Journey, we don't nickel and dime, as was explained in the film. You just get everything. And everything's included. The only thing is there's some fine wines, which is Sonu's wine list, but those are wines above $400 a bottle. So even a wine at $400 a bottle, Soneva Unlimited covers it. Some amazing fine champagnes, etc. Spa Unlimited is the same, and this is no limits, no nickel and diming, no fine print. And for $500 a day, you can have any treatments, including visiting practitioners like Roger Moore, who normally charges a couple $100 just for a treatment. The Den, I talked about Soneva Fushi having the most elaborate children's facility in the world. This is it. This is the Den. I'll quickly show you this film. Cinema room, makeup, costumes, Lego room. Music room, keyboards, electric guitar, drums. We're getting a second float plane, so we have one which many of you would have seen. We're getting another one which arrives in February, so we'll have two. Many resorts have one. We're now going to have a second one. So majority of your clients, I hope, will be able to use our plane going forward. At the moment, if a client doesn't use the plane, we credit $150, I think, per way that they miss our plane if they have to go with TMA. We're also moving to Manta Ray Air because they have more infrastructure in the Bar Atoll where we are, and easy access to Noon Atoll. So Soneva Nakwa, I touched upon it earlier. I'm going to flick through quickly. These are the interiors, as you can see, very wide, big floor to ceiling, high quality. You press the button, the floor slides back, and you see the fish below. Guest bedroom as well. So ideal for a multi-generational family, grandparents in the master cabin, and parents and kids here. Lots of great experiences. This is Goidu, so it's about 40 minutes by speedboat. Neva and I, normally the weekend, Soneva Nakwa will go ahead and they'll be parked in. We'll just spend the weekend here, and there's just so much to do in Goidu. And Soneva in Aqua is all about the experiences. So you can go dolphin gliding. We give you a weight belt, so with a couple of kilos, so you're a little bit submerged, and then we'll pull you along. And after about half an hour, you've done what would normally take you 4 or 5 hours to snorkel. So you've seen a lot. And very often the dolphins hear the noise of the boat and they start swimming around you. And that's why we've called it dolphin gliding. I showed you the bathtub with the glass floor. We have peeping toms here in Goidu Atoll, these mantas. And of course, when they come along, it's fantastic because the guest can dive in. As you can see, a guest just jumped in here and you just swim with the mantas and they just don't leave. And then this is in the plankton. So, with the plankton, just swimming in with the plankton, where there's great concentrations in the Bar Atoll, which you really have now from about May till November. It's like this. Playing pirates, just going off the boom like Tarzan or whatever, sandbank dinners. If your clients really require water sports, we'll just rent another tender. We do photography lessons as well. And so really we do surfing, skirting, windsurfing, wake skating, free diving. Catching squid's great fun. So we put the lights on the back of the boat, swim platform comes down. There's a table and chairs, and there's the net, the fish, the squid is caught. The kitchen's right behind. We open the hatch and the squid goes in, and literally poor little thing that was minding its business, swimming in front of by the boat. 10 minutes later is on your plate. So you can't be more fresh than that. And stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, fun tube, sea bob, island castaway picnic, guided snorkeling, catch and release, and scuba diving. So Soneva Jani, it's a huge lagoon. As a lot of you have seen, I hope quite a few of you visited this year. Importantly, we have Mafru Airport, which is an international airport. It offers customs, immigration, quarantine. It's 2.2 kilometers. So every private jet, apart from obviously super, super large ones, but a Boeing business jet, the G5s, the G650s, the Global Expresses, they can all land here very easily. There are about 3 or 4 flights only landing a day. So you land here within a couple of minutes, you're out. And then it's a 7-minute boat journey to Soneva Jani, an hour to Soneva Fushi, and about 10, 15 minutes with our float plane. So it's much closer Mafru than Male, even for Soneva Fushi. And the good thing is that it's uncongested, which I highly recommend. So if you've got clients coming with a private plane, don't send them to Male, because Male is congested now. So unfortunately, all the works haven't quite finished. It's not going to be till the end of 2022 when we get the new terminals. So it does mean that there's a lot of traffic, a lot of congestion. They're going to increase the airport hours to relieve the congestion, but there have been private jets recently that have had to abort to Sri Lanka because they've been circling for a few hours, were running low on fuel, and they had to go to Sri Lanka and land there, refuel, and try again. So if you're coming in with a private jet, obviously you're taking second priority compared with the commercial flights that have special licenses with the government. So just bear that in mind, and highly recommend anyone going with a private jet, book them into Soneva Jani or Soneva Fushi and send them to Mafru. Chapter 2, we opened at the end of last year. It's now stable and settled. I'm just going to flick through these images very quickly. Big villas as well, the largest 1 and 2 bedrooms, as I mentioned, in the world. Lovely 4-bedroom retreat. This is in chapter 1, the old one. We've now added an extra bedroom here for the kids. So it's 4 plus 1 extra small kids bedroom as well. So just bear that in mind if you have clients who want a 5th bedroom over water. The gathering is really the nucleus, the hub of Soneva Jani. We have 3 food and beverage concepts, including Matthias Dahlgren here in overseas. You have the chocolate room, the ice cream parlors, which are standard Sonevas. You have the library, the barefoot butlers, the spa, the Soneva Jani spa. And so here are some images of it. You have So Cool. And then on the other side, you have the director's cut. We've extended the deck so you can sit outside and watch the movie. Still modern Japanese food here. Then Overseas by Matthias Dahlgren. He opened this last October, and now he came back this summer to do 2.0, which is fantastic. It's even better. And what's really nice is you don't have to commit yourself to a choice. So you order 1 dish, and then if you're at all hungry and you want another dish, within 6 minutes, he'll prepare the next dish. So it's called Plate by Plate. It's a luxury not having to make too many decisions. We make too many decisions every day. So it's a luxury not having to make a commitment, and it's very flexible and very easy and a lovely concept. This is the plant-based restaurant at Soneva Jani. So while by Diana von Kranax, as I mentioned earlier, every Soneva has a plant-based restaurant. And then, so primitive, this is be like the fish shack at Soneva Jani. Soneva Fushi will look like this, the Cinema Paradiso, using recycled materials. This is also primitive there, simple grill, which we opened last year. And then the den. So the den is, we've just started breaking ground on it. We're hoping to finish in April, but I think next summer is going to be more realistic because these things take time. There are issues at the moment with containers and supplies. And this den is really If Soneva Fushi is 2.0 in terms of dens and facilities for children in the Maldives or, in a luxury hotel, this is 4.0. It's gone to another level. It's 5 more years of thinking. Every holiday season, our general managers have mocktails. So they invite the kids. The children of the wealthy are normally in the shadow of their parents. So it's very nice when the kids are invited. Obviously, GMs are invited, adults are invited, and obviously their family at the GM's cocktail party on the sandbank or so on. But there's a special event, a mocktail just for the children with the general manager, the chef, the life manager, and the spa manager and the den manager. And they plan the week for the kids. The kids come up with ideas on food, etc. And I would sometimes join these meetings, and in about 15 minutes, I got tons of ideas from the children. So this is it here. And I'll just quickly show you. So this waterfall here, there's a zip line here now we've added. It goes right through the waterfall. And here, this is for teenagers here. So you have a little games room here, artist room here, and they can play ping pong up here as well. Lots of space. Let me show you the floor plan here. And you come in here. Arne Boon, the Dutch designer who made our sliding roofs. He designed the piano stairs in the den at Soneva Fushi, where it sounds like a piano, where you walk on these pieces. It looks like the keyboards of a piano. And then, the telescope at Soneva Jani, where the glass opens up and it comes out. He designed all that. He's got 5 interesting ideas he's come up with here as well. And as you can see, the zip line goes right through this waterfall here, and it lands on this. So this is the mezzanine. This inset drawing is above, and you land on the mezzanine and go upstairs. And there's a water slide as well. There's a sleepy river, a lazy river, they call it, here, around here. And then in addition to that, there's a cave. So it's a beautiful grotto, like you get in the Mediterranean. Be great for teenagers. You've got a little mocktail bar in the evenings. And then lots of other activities here, skateboard ramp, slipping slide, bowling alley. So a lot happening. This is the grotto. As you can see, it's rocky on the outside, waterfall, and you go in. It's like going into a grotto. This is the water slide. This is the second floor for the teenagers. Lots of games here, a little game room with lots of tables for them to play games or whatever, card games, painting, and then this ping pong table out here. And then there's a little day bed. This is a dry slide that goes out like that. So you might be sitting on a day bed and you can get out for a quick getaway down there, and some interior images. So broken ground, and here you can see the zip line going across, landing there. So finishing that most probably next summer. Soneva Soul at Soneva Jani, I talked about Soneva Soul and the concept, this idea of combining the best of modern medicine with thousands of years of ancient wisdom. This Soneva Jani's Soneva Soul at Soneva Jani, I just flicked through. It opens 1st October. So construction, as you can see, is almost finished. A lot of it's been handed over to the operations team. Here are some images, fantastic meditation room. And there we are. And yeah. And so this is Dr. Lakshman, who'll be helping with the Ayurveda. He's the one who helped me with my cure, worked, helping people with cancer, diabetes, thyroid, and other just general ailments on stress and other things, diet, great nutritionist, and studied under one of the leading Ayurveda experts in the world, Dr. Ravindram in Coimbatore. Roger Moore, Joe Foley, one of Britain's top spa writers, voted Roger Moore in an article as eight top therapists and best of the best around the world. He's a fantastic healer. People travel around the world for him. Our yoga, this is Pawan, our yoga master. We also have Hitesh and Kamal. They've all spent 5 to 10 years in an ashram. So yoga is quite deep. It has the niyama, pranayama, asanas, etc. Getting to sawadhi. It's like a religion. It's not just learning the asanas, the movements, and doing a few postures. And so these are very deep souls, and they're great beings. And we have 3 of them in the Maldives at the moment this winter, Hitesh, Kamal, and Pawan, who leads them. Soneva Kiri, I mentioned it's on the east coast of Thailand, the 4th largest island for tourism in Thailand, but really remote, but accessible because we have our own flight. Our airport is just behind here where our caravan lands. We have the new beach, South Beach, where you can now access with the buggy, and there's a restaurant on the beach there. As you can see, this water, it's almost like the Maldives, very rare for Thailand. And then this is our plant-based restaurant at Soneva Kiri, Colors of the Garden. This is the menu. So every Soneva has a plant-based restaurant. New Year's Eve is coming up. I know you've got lots of peak bookings. Thank you so much for all these great inquiries. And I know the cost of the New Year's journey is always a question mark, but our guests have never complained. The next morning, they always say it's the best party they've ever been to. It's a series because our resorts are extensive, as you've seen. We've got so many different outlets. Our properties are large. And typically New Year's Eve parties at hotels are buffets. The buffet is, okay, maybe elaborate, but it's very quick. It's one of the quickest meals. So 10 o'clock, people are looking at their watches. So what we've done is we've done a journey. We created a journey of pop-up restaurants. 6 different pop-up restaurants. You start at 6, and normally at 11:30, security goes around rounding people up for the countdown. I don't think I've ever had a main course in the main area in the last 5 years at Soneva Fushi before the countdown. I always have my main course after the countdown, and people are there dancing till 4 in the morning. At 1 in the morning, we bring out the foie gras with the sauterne. There's then the caviar with some champagne, accompanying the guest champagne. And then we have other things like about 2:30, there's the pain au chocolat, etc. So there's snacks continuing all the time. And it's literally a journey of pop-up restaurants with huge bottles. So Jeroboam of this, Nebuchadnezzar off the 1990 Barolo. We don't skim. Fantastic white truffles from Alba, etc., etc. This is a film. This is a combination of all three resorts. 40 acrobats and artists in each resort. And so this is Soneva Fushi, Soneva Jani, Sentябре. So, and before I finish, I shared a few beliefs at the beginning, this idea that by being the owner and operator of our hotels allows us to have a very clear, undiluted philosophy, and that philosophy being slow life, essentially offering our guests luxuries whilst minimizing our impact on the planet, enhancing their health, and then our brand proposition of inspiring a lifetime of rare experiences. I'd like to share with you 2 more. The first is I believe strongly that companies must have a purpose beyond simply enriching shareholders like Ava and I and our partners, and paying our employees a salary. And when you can do that, it can be very meaningful. I like the words of Henry Ford that a company must be an instrument of service and not just a money-making machine. And this is something that Ava and I believe strongly in. And so we also feel that when you have a purpose that goes beyond paying employees a salary, it can be very engaging. And fundamentally in our industry, hospitality, the definition of luxury is not how big the villas are. I've shown you the largest lead-in villas in the world. It's not about the restaurants and the food. We have top chefs like Tim Rauer or Neil Perry from around the world saying the best hotel food they've ever tried has been at Soneva Fushi. It's not about the spa. We created spas many years ago, the first spa in the Maldives with 6 Senses spas back in '95. It's the magical service that the hosts that occupy the property create. And magical service can only be trained to an extent. It has to be instilled. It has to come from the gut. And I believe that when you have a core purpose that rings true, the first L in slow life stands for local. So we don't just hire from the Maldives, we hire from the local islands, or not just in Thailand, but also from Kokut. And then we engage with those local communities. And so our hosts wake up each morning proud to be Sonevians and proud about what they are contributing as an organization to the world as a whole, and really passionate and motivated to create magic for our guests. And so in a way, the more sustainable we are, and the more true we are to our slow life core purpose, the more luxurious we are, because that's the definition of luxury. And that's why I think we're the only or one of the few hotel groups to have won the equivalent of the Oscars for luxury in travel and tourism more than once. The readers of Condé Nast Traveler UK voted us best of the best back in 2000 and again in 2008. And to have won the equivalent of the Oscars for sustainability in travel and tourism. So the World Travel and Tourism Council, the government, private sector partnership. In Dubai, they gave us their Tourism for Tomorrow Award in 2008. And then again in 2015, they gave us the same award when they met in Madrid. And that leads on to a second belief. We created the Soneva Foundation to reinforce this core purpose. And importantly, the foundation is not funded by any donations. My wife and I have not donated $1, nor have our guests. It's come from small changes. This idea of changing your business model in a way that does not affect your profitability or does not negatively impact on the way that guests see you or perceive you, but which can have a big impact well beyond our shores. So back in 2008, when I was there in Dubai receiving the award, they announced their hotel calculator, their hotel carbon calculator. So I went back, I talked to our group conscience, asked him to look at it, and he highlighted its inadequacies. It only measures scopes 1 and 2, which what happens on site, not scope 3, externalities, guests flying in, supplies coming in, how those supplies were developed. So we started measuring all that, and we found that 85% of our CO2 emissions were scope 3, which the industry doesn't measure. So we said we have to introduce a mandatory carbon levy. So not voluntary, mandatory. So if it's a tour operator booking, it's absorbed in the rate and we just absorb it. And if it's an FIT, 10% discount, 10% service charge. This is a repeat guest. He gets his 10% discount. As you know, we offer to all repeat guests, 10% service charge, 12% GST, and then the 2% carbon levy. And over the years, this UK charity, the Soneva Foundation, has received well over $10 million through this change in the way we do business. No donation, the way we do business, this change, measuring our carbon, especially the externalities and scope 3, and then introducing a mandatory fund to offset it. The Environment Fund has had 8.4 million over the years. It's planted 500,000 trees in Thailand, giving the local community up their jobs, and importantly, reducing flooding, which of course is becoming more and more an issue all around the world, not just in Thailand. And then the windmill, a 1.5 megawatt windmill in India, when Six Senses were part of our group. They were contributing as well. As you can see, it says Six Senses. And we give subsidized energy to the local community that live there. And after 20 years, that windmill produces 3 windmills when this one expires. So it's a growing proposition. In Darfur and Myanmar, the cook stove. So 4 million people die a year of lung asphyxiation. They're using firewood to just keep themselves warm or purify their water or cook their food, of course, and they're dying. And in Myanmar and Darfur, this is very common using these cook stoves. So we've introduced them. I think we've given about 190,000 so far, the Soneva Foundation, to families. Importantly, no more smoky rooms, so no more lung disease threats. 50% wood consumption reduction, so 50% reduction in wood consumption. So in Darfur, some family, and normally women, are risking the security of their villages to find the firewood. And in Myanmar, they're spending up to 30% of their income, some families, on the firewood. And then a 60% reduction in CO2 emissions. So small change to the way we do business, did not impact on our profitability, nor the way guests perceived us, but raised a lot of capital for good causes. And I'll share with you one more before we go. We decided to branded water. So no Evian, no Vitel, taking a linear process of extraction and consumption and manufacturing and waste, and making it circular, where we have these beautiful bottles, which we use thousands of times, with this lovely ceramic lid. Looks really nice on the tabletop. Our water menu is these different jugs with healing crystals. Apart from the ecological benefits of taking this linear process and making it circular, and the healthier product, because we know that plastics are carcinogen, we also found there was a financial saving. We were saving 18% of our water revenue. So our cost of sales went from 20% down to 2%. That 18% gave roughly 500,000 people, slightly more than 500,000 people, in roughly over 400 projects in over 40 countries, gave them access to clean water. So again, a small change to the way we do business, did not affect our profitability, but had a huge positive impact. And then we recently decided we had to do more locally. So in the Maldives, now all our water revenues go towards Soneva Namuna. And the goal there is to eliminate the single use of plastic amongst the neighboring islands. We've adopted 3 islands. We set up a water bottling plant. That water bottling plant has already avoided 150,000 plastic bottles. We've set up eco-centers, these waste to wealth centers that I touched upon earlier, where now they don't burn openly, because historically in the Maldives, there was no word for beach. It's a country of beaches. The literal translation for beach is there where you throw the rubbish. There where you throw the rubbish. They'd light a fire, burn it. It would look really ugly. And so Malos and 2 other islands near where Soneva Fushi is now have eco-centros, no more open burning. And this is President Nasheed and the famous Indian bowler Harbhajan Singh. And we launched the Malos Eco-Centro, where the burning area was. There's now a cricket pitch where we played a game of cricket. And so that's it. So thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry I've gone a little over. Does anyone have questions? No questions?
No.
I see lots of chats. No, great. Well, if there's anything you need, let me quickly introduce the team. So we have, who do we have here? We have who from our team. Is Frederick here? I can't see Frederick. Frederick? Eddie there?
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Eddie. Okay.
Hi.
Eddie Tate is our general manager at Soneva Fushi. If you put your number in the chat, so please give Eddie a call if you have any issues with bookings, client in-house. If you want to speak with general manager, he's obviously available. We have Nasim, our head of reservations. Again, he'll put his name in the chat, his number in the chat. So please don't hesitate to call him if you have any questions, challenges, last-minute issues. And then anyone else there? Jamie around?
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Jamie. So Jamie's at Soneva Kiri. Please do call him. And I think things are going to start improving. So you might soon have bookings to Thailand, because the level of vaccination is growing. I think it's over 20% now. And our hope is that Bangkok is going to be a sandbox as well. So people will be allowed to go to Bangkok soon. And then you have to isolate for a week, and then you can come over to Phuket. And so that's the hope by October. And our hope is by the end of the year, all will be back to normal in Thailand. So don't forget Phuket. Good. Anyone else? There's Carissa, of course, our Chief Commercial Officer.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
And Nisa looks after Asia. Alan around? I can't see Alan anywhere.
Yes. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Okay. So Alan Ball looks after Europe for us. If I missed anyone out, and then we obviously have our CDOS and PR agent, Anik, and I can see Alfonso there and Raquel. Good.
Hi.
Tiffany. So maybe, yeah. Well, very good. It was very nice to see you. Thank you very much for your time. Please don't hesitate to let us know if you have any questions. And please do look at our brand center. So if you go onto our brand center on our website, there's a lot of content there. We have every month our digital storytellers. Each resort has a digital storyteller. They're producing 5 or so new films each. So there's a lot uploaded there all the time. Lots of great content that will help you sell. Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. It was very nice.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sonu.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.